What's up, guys? I am Ashley Gavin, and I am your father.
I'm Elena Joy. I am mommy.
And I'm Mac Injami, your hot teenage brother.
Baby. Mac is baby.
We are your chosen family, because you don't have a gay family, and you need a gay family.
Every week, we bring a topic to the family dinner table, from gender dysphoria to monogamy to how to figure out if someone is into you.
Listen to Chosen Family every Wednesday on your favorite podcast app, or watch full episodes on YouTube to get the full family experience. Chosen Family is a part of the Forever Dog Podcast Network.
Welcome to Mom and Dad Are Fighting, Slate's parenting podcast for Monday, May 22nd, the Too Big, Too Small, Just Right edition. I'm Jamilah Lemieux, a writer, contributor to Slate's Care and Feeding Parenting column, and mom to Naima, who is 10. We live in Los Angeles.
I'm Zak Rosen. I make another podcast. It's called The Best Advice Show. And I am dad to Noah, who's 5, and Ami, who's 2. We live in Detroit.
And I'm Maribel Quezada Smith, a video and podcast producer. I also co-host the Pulso podcast. I'm a mom to Renzi, who's 2, almost 3, and we live in Phoenix.
Today on the show, we are going to be talking about family composition. We have a letter from a listener who thought they were content with only one child. But now they're feeling pressure from family and friends and the clock to make a decision on if they're going to add more. So we're going to give them some advice, and we're also going to talk more broadly about what it means to decide when your family is quote-unquote complete. We heard from a lot of you lovely listeners on how these discussions have gone with your families, so be sure to stick around for that wonderful advice. Then we'll wrap up the show with a round of recommendations. See you back here in a second.
So, you open Google Chrome on your phone, you're hunting for a super rare first edition vinyl of a band you're obsessed with, when you're supposed to be working. But this site you tapped on seems pretty shady. And Daryl from IT just jumped up from his desk. Oh no, he's coming your way. It's a good thing built-in malware protection keeps you safe and sound. Not from Daryl, though. Sorry. There's no place like Chrome. Download Google Chrome on your phone.
Smoothie King asks, what's that sound? That's the sound of hearts popping out of your eyes when you see Smoothie King's all-new smoothie bowls. These Power Pack beauties are just waiting to be spooned. Our smoothie bowls start with acai or pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, ripe mangoes, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. That's the sound of a smoothie bowl being made fresh, just for you. The new Smoothie Bowls menu, only at Smoothie King.
All right, we're back and ready to hear our listener question.
Hello, I'm a longtime listener of the show, and I'm currently married with a 4.5-year-old son. My husband and I are high school sweethearts and agreed early on that we are a one-and-done family. We do a lot with our 4-year-old. We go geocaching, magnet fishing, sports, and academics. I have now just turned 40, and after learning most, if not all of our friends and family are expecting or have already welcomed at least a second child, my age is kind of giving me pause. My husband is not interested in a second, and to be honest, I'm not sure I am either. But my age and family history, I wasn't only, have me doubting my much earlier life decision. If we have a second, we can't afford to give him the life that we gave our first, which seems kind of selfish and frankly unfair. I also know that a lot of people say that by having siblings, you're giving them best friends for life. But really, the only thing that's guaranteed is that resources are going to be divided and they're going to receive less attention. Would love any thoughts.
What do you think, Maribel?
Oh, so I feel like this person, like I'm the same person. I can totally identify with them. In fact, we're even close in age. So I myself had a difficult pregnancy. We were actually expecting twins, and our daughter passed away after being born. So because of that and the trauma that caused, we decided that we probably were not going to have more kids. But I've always kind of been 50-50. And my husband, just like this person, is like 100% no. He doesn't want to see me go through it again. He doesn't want to risk anything. But also there are other things that I think about as well, just like this person, like resources. I mean, it is very expensive to have children and to raise them. It's expensive to even, send them to school or to clothe them. And there are many things that we like to do together, like travel, that I feel would be a lot harder or almost impossible to do with more than one kid. So I completely identify. And I will say there are two things that stick out to me. So one is that your husband is saying he's not interested. And I think that's really important to your relationship in the marriage. Like, I think a lot of people don't think about their marriage when they're having kids, and they don't realize how much their marriage will change or evolve. And so if one person is clearly saying no more, there needs to be respect of that, or you need to make sure you're having deeper conversations about the reasons behind them, because the last thing you want to do is to ruin your marriage over having more children. So I think about that, like, how is my relationship going to be impacted if we bring in more kids into the mix, because that's going to add stress, both financial stress and just mental stress. And then the other thing that sticks out to me from this question is that people keep saying that they'll have a best friend for life if you have more kids. And I think that's bullshit, because I'm one out of three, and I am not best friends with my siblings. I love them, and I like seeing them, and I like hanging out with them, but they're not my best friends. Mm-hmm. My best friends are not related to me, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Your kid will have best friends that are not their siblings. That's normal. Like, most of the time, to be honest, in my experience, the siblings, all they do is fight. And that's more stress on you. So that's something that I think about too. Like, do I really want to deal with my kids fighting all the time? And like, I see other parents always dealing with that. So I think that it's oftentimes seen with rose-colored glasses when people say that, like, oh, but they'll miss out on their best friend. No, that's not a sibling's job to be your kid's best friend. I think that's just something that people say, but they don't realize how much work it actually adds to a family.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it doesn't seem like you want this kid. Your husband definitely doesn't. It doesn't sound like you do either. To me, of course, it's up to you and not us, but you did ask, and it doesn't seem like these are good reasons to have the kid. I mean, I'm biased. I have a second kid. I'm glad we did it, but we only did it because both of us were on board to. If one of you absolutely does not want to have a kid, you shouldn't have a kid. I mean, it's way too big of a commitment to bring a kid into a world where 50% of the parents don't want to take that on. So I would say don't do it.
I am also in the don't do it camp, and I can't relate. I'm in a different situation, obviously. As a single parent, it's kind of like the decision for me has been made. I'm almost 40, and I don't know that I'll have another child. And for a long time, I really wanted another one, and I expected that I would meet someone and have another baby. And so I'm 38, and now, I think about, like, how much time do I have left to have another child? And I think that that's maybe more what you're grappling with, like the idea that maybe at some point I couldn't. So right now, while you still can, or you feel like you still can, shouldn't you? Like, do you want this decision to be made for you by time, or do you want to make it for yourself? That's not a good reason to have another kid. Like, I could see if you were like, I'm really on board. I really want another baby. I want another baby so bad. How do I convince my husband? He definitely doesn't want one. You don't really want one. It's going to be difficult for your lifestyle. You talked about not being able to give these children the same things. I think you should just delight in that sweet little 4.5-year-old that you have and be grateful for him, and, just honor the decision that you all made a long time ago.
I also noticed that in the question, you're saying that there are people around you who are having their second kid, and that seems to be creating some kind of pressure. Mm-hmm. And that is such a thing that we as human beings have to grapple with. It's the idea that because others are doing it, we need to be doing it too. Or because society expects us to do certain things, we should do that as well. I grapple with that all the time. So much of the things we do as parents happen because of what our neighbors are doing or the friends are doing. And I think that that's a mistake. Like, we need to find our own way and really ask ourselves, why do we want whatever it is we want? Because I agree that it doesn't sound like you want that other kid based on your lifestyle. But it does sound like there's pressure around you to feel like you do. And I can completely relate, because every time I go home to Mexico, when's the next one coming? When are you having another? And it's like, I should just send an email before I traveled and be like, we're not having another kid. Do not ask me this question.
Or print it on your t-shirt or something. Yeah. And like, this is an entirely different issue, but I think it's related. You don't want to have one now, it seems. If in like 8 years, you're like, shit, I really want a kid. Foster a kid.
Yes.
Or adopt a kid. We need that.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
you know, do that when you actually want to have the kid. Actually, Slate's own David Plotz from the Political Gabfest gave me this advice on my show. And I'm wondering, I want to hear what you two think, if it can be extrapolated onto this decision. But his advice was like, when you are invited to an event, let's say it's a wedding 6 months from now, and you're trying to figure out if you want to go. Imagine if it were tomorrow. If you would want to go to that wedding tomorrow, then you should RSVP yes. So like, imagine like you have a second kid tomorrow. Do you want to be getting up with that kid tomorrow at 4 a.m. and being a parent to a second kid like tomorrow? And if you're feeling like that doesn't sound good, again, that might be, you know, yet another factor in making this decision.
Yeah. I wonder what you all think about the idea that having an only child is not always good for their psyche. Like, in the sense that we might put too much pressure on them because they're our only attention or source of attention.
The way that your parents' expectations can be heavy when it's just you. You know, the idea that all the hopes and all the dreams and all the fear fall on you. You know, sometimes I wish that my mother had another child to divide her attention because of, you know, just how intense she was in terms of taking care of me. But, you know,
I mean, I totally get the impulse to want to have a second kid. It's, but like, I think about my parents aging now, and I'm so grateful that I have a sister to navigate that with. But again, it's navigable without them. There are cousins, there are friends. That's not a reason to have a kid, to deal, you know. So yeah, there's benefits to both, but doesn't sound like you want them. Which is great. Like own that and be happy with it. You should not feel ashamed that you just want to have one kid. That's great.
It's fine.
Great. You should know what you want. That's awesome.
And I wonder how much of it is maybe biological. Like, I think that sometimes our actual biology is making us feel like we need to have more. And that's just a normal part of being a human. There might be actual, you know, psychological reasons that make you feel confused about whether or not you should have another one. And it might not have anything to do with your actual desires, but more so your biological desires. And in understanding how to differentiate that could be really helpful here.
Yeah.
We're going to continue this conversation, but not before another quick break. We'll see you here in a second.
Priceline presents Go to Your Happy Price. What's up? It's Kaylee Cuoco. When it comes to travel, we all have a happy place. You can see yourself already there. It's beautiful. It might be sunny and sandy for some, neon and urban for others, deserts or rainforests or hiking trails. With Priceline, you can get to your happy place for a happy price with deals you really can't find anywhere else. Like up to 60% off select hotels to Costa Rica or 5-star hotels for 2-star prices in Cabo. Go to Priceline.com and travel to your happy place for a happy price. All right, see ya. I'm off to Miami. No, actually, wow, look at that. No, I'm going to Hawaii now. Ooh, Cancun looks nice. You know what? Belize looks pretty nice this time of year. Or, Palm Springs.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
From Disney.
Flounder, stay out here and watch for sharks. What?
This Friday.
Has Ariel killed the prince yet? Not killed, kissed. You bird brain.
Meet Flounder.
Ariel, you know I can't swim that fast.
Scuttle.
Wow, check a wow, wow.
You finished?
Wow.
And Sebastian.
I'm a crab on a mission.
In the 3D movie event of the summer.
When I give the signal, you drop me. Got it. No, you idiot.
Disney's The Little Mermaid. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters Friday.
What's up, guys? I am Ashley Gavin, and I am your father.
I'm Elena Joy. I am mommy.
And I'm Mac Injami, your hot teenage brother.
Baby. Mac is baby.
We are your chosen family, because you don't have a gay family, and you need a gay family.
Every week, we bring a topic to the family dinner table, from gender dysphoria to monogamy to how to figure out if someone is into you.
Listen to Chosen Family every Wednesday on your favorite podcast app, or watch full episodes on YouTube to get the full family experience. Chosen Family is a part of the Forever Dog Podcast Network.
We're back, and as this question of family composition is so personal, we thought it was only fitting to hear from a few more voices.
Hello, I'm responding to the number of children question. I ended up with one, mainly because I nearly died when I had him, and he almost died as well. So I think that there's a lot of folks in the world that believe that their ideal number of children will just manifest themselves. I was one of those people. I wanted 4 kids, and I ended up with 1 and a hysterectomy. So I just think that there's a million ways that we form families, and I think that they're all valid. So thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think we do need reminding all the time that there's a million ways that we form families and that they're all valid. I really appreciate this one.
Mm-hmm. Same. I can totally identify with her journey and the difficulty that pregnancy can bring. So I completely understand the point of view, and I respect that.
Okay, let's hear from another listener.
Hi, my name is Holly, and I'm calling about the family side decisions. I think I have kind of a funny approach to how this worked out for our family. We started with 1, of course. We adopted our first child because we had always wanted to adopt. And then when we were settling into the idea of her being an only child, or maybe thinking about adopting another one, I got pregnant. And that wasn't ever really a part of the plan, but it turned out wonderfully. So then we had 2. And then since 2020, when our girls were tweens and young teens, we have hosted 3 exchange students. So we've had often 3 in the house, and now I consider those 3 children also my children. And so I kind of have 5 children, and I imagine we'll have more that way. And I think it's just been wonderful. A lot of times I will say to people that I think I was always meant to parent 3 children, just not 3 little ones, because I could have never done that. God bless you, Elizabeth. But 3 teens has been fabulous and wonderful, and everything I ever hoped for as a parent. Thanks.
I think about fostering and adopt, like Sheer and I think about fostering and adopting sometimes, but I always forget about the exchange student. The exchange student is such a great one. That seems like a, you know, like if you're like a way to kind of dip your toe into that mode of parenting without, you know, fully diving in. I really love that.
Mm-hmm. I do too, because like you said before, there are a million ways to form a family, and there's no such thing as just having a family with your biological children. I mean, there are so many kids out there who need mentorship and help and support and love. Some kids can't get that from their biological parents, even if they do have them in their lives. Mm-hmm. So I think opening yourself up to those opportunities is wonderful, and it's such a good way, an alternative to grow your family.
All right, here's our last letter.
Hi, Mom and Dad. My husband and I are the parents of 4 fabulous little boys. Before we had kids, I was confident that I wanted 2 kids that were spaced 5 to 6 years apart. That way we'd only have 1 in diapers or at daycare at a time. And it seemed like siblings that were spaced further apart tended to get along better. But that kind of went out the window in the first few weeks after our oldest was born. My husband and I were soaking up that new baby joy, and we knew in that moment that 2 of these precious beings just wouldn't be enough for us. We did not want to be in the baby and toddler stages for 20 years, so we had our second 2 years later. I did read a study somewhere that 3 was the most stressful number of kids, and 4 was the least stressful. The theory is that you're outnumbered with 3. With 4, they're paired up again, and the oldest kid can serve as a helper or a third parent figure, and you sort of succumb to the chaos. Sometimes I wonder what our lives would be like if we only had our eldest and second, or if our kids were spaced out like I had originally planned. That might have been easier on our pocketbooks, but I don't know. I don't think I would have felt complete in the way I do now, and that's worth every penny that we've spent on our family of 6. And I'm so grateful that this is the way our lives have turned out.
That study about 3 being more stressful than 4 is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I call bullshit on that. I need to see the resources that went into that study.
But the idea that each had, like, there's, you know, that they're paired off, I can see that. But yeah. 4. Good on you, Rachel. You know, 4. Amazing.
But you know what I do have to say is that I grew up around cousins who were made to be sort of like the parenting figure because they were the older one. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't healthy on their psyche either, because at some point they were robbed from their childhood as well.
You felt like weight on them.
Yeah, because they felt a lot of weight on them and a lot of responsibility. It's different to ask your kid to hold your other kid's hand or to help you get them dressed, you know, here and there. But sometimes parents really rely on that older child to watch the kids, to make sure they go to bed on time, to set boundaries and responsibilities, and that's not okay. I mean, in my opinion, that doesn't yield for a healthy relationship in the long run.
Thank you again to everyone who wrote in. If you have any thoughts on family size or advice of your own, you're not too late. We still want to hear it. Send us an email at momanddad@slate.com or leave us a voicemail at 646-357-9318. That's also where you can send any questions you may have. It is finally time for recommendations. Zach, what are you recommending?
I have a very quiet act of rebellion that I'm going to recommend today. Okay. As the parent who works from home, I am the de facto laundress. And there's just so much fucking laundry that I don't know how much time this is saving me, but it gives me, it's kind of a form of very subtle catharsis. Embrace the notion of mismatched socks for your kids. Don't try to find, like, these adorable little socks are so small. I don't understand how any parent can keep them in pairs unless you're only buying one pair of socks, which is, I think, a parallel recommendation, like only get like white tube socks so then you can't mismatch them. But with both of my kids, I mismatch their socks. I kind of feel like, oh, it's funky, it's quirky. But like with the amount of time I'm spending doing laundry, I'm not taking an extra, 5 to 10 minutes per load, which adds up to find the tiny little pairs. So embrace mismatched socks. And I can imagine type A folks are going to think this is nuts, but I don't know. I think it's cute.
What about one of those laundry bags that you can zip up and put them all in there? I wonder if that would work.
What do you mean?
You know, the laundry bags. I have laundry bags that you can put, items in there that get lost easily, or your bra, things that are more delicate.
Oh, and you wash them all together?
Yeah, yeah, and you zip them up, and then everything washes together.
Literally have never heard of that.
Oh, well, then that's that's my recommendation.
I like this. Wait, so what do you put in there?
So all kinds of things. I'll put in items that get lost, like certain socks that I don't want to lose. I'll do bras or other delicates, things I don't want snagged. Things like that. They go into the laundry bags and they sell them in different sizes. And they're just fabric bags.
I mean, you're not going to dry the bra, but
they're just fabric bags. They have a zipper. You put stuff in there, you zip it up, you wash it, and then when it comes out of the washer, you unzip and take it out. I don't normally dry the stuff inside the bag because it doesn't dry very well.
Okay. We should do a whole episode on laundry.
We could, easily. Well, I'm recommending Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, the film. It's very sweet. It's very well done. I have to admit, even though it was a big, important book to me when I was a kid, all I remember about it today is we must increase our bust. But from what I do remember of the book and from what I've heard of it thus far, I think they did a really nice job bringing it to the screen. It's a cute movie. It's sweet. My daughter liked it. Child actors were good. Nice film.
What do you think is the minimum age? I mean, I know all kids are different maturity-wise, but...
I would say 8 or 9. You know, there's a little talk of kissing and a spin the bottle game, you know, but there's a lot of period talk, you know, which I think is fine for kids to hear because it's important, you know. But yeah, I'd say 8.
I also heard the new Judy Blume documentary, Judy Blume Forever, is excellent. Have either of you watched that?
I haven't, but I heard the same thing.
This might be a nice double bill.
And that is our show. Please subscribe and leave a rating and review. That helps us bring more people into our wonderful, vibrant parenting community. This episode of Mom and Dad Are Fighting is produced by Rosemary Belson and Maura Currie. Shasha Leonard is the voice of our listeners. Alicia Montgomery is VP of Slate Audio. For Zak Rosen and Maribel Quezada Smith, I'm Jamilah Lemieux. Thank you for listening.
What's up, guys? I am Ashley Gavin, and I am your father.
I'm Elena Joy. I am mommy.
And I'm Mac Injami, your hot teenage brother.
Baby. Mac is baby.
We are your chosen family, because you don't have a gay family, and you need a gay family.
Every week, we bring a topic to the family dinner table, from gender dysphoria to monogamy to how to figure out if someone is into you.
Listen to Chosen Family every Wednesday on your favorite podcast app or watch full episodes on YouTube to get the full family experience. Chosen Family is a part of the Forever Dog Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Heidecker. You know me, Tim and Eric, Bridesmaids, and Fantastic Four. I'd like to personally invite you to listen to Office Hours Live with me and my co-hosts, DJ Doug Pound.
Hello.
And Vic Berger.
Howdy.
Every week we bring you laughs, fun, games, and lots of other surprises. It's live. We take your Zoom calls.
Music.
We love having fun. Excuse me?
Songs. Vic said something. Music.
Songs.
Music.
I like having fun. I like to laugh. I like to meet people who can make me laugh. Please subscribe now.